Hey, Coach, I just wanted to get a sense of, I mean, we saw a shoot around the latter parts with the shooting contest and things like that, but how are you able to kind of make the most of these last 2 days to prepare for this game? Because it looked like maybe yesterday there was no practice, so how do you guys prepare?
Well, we left, immediately after the game in New York, so it was a late night getting back, and just from my experiences, it tends to hit you on Thursday, not Wednesday. So I also didn't want them sitting on this stuff for 2 days without seeing us and not having interaction with their teammates. So we just, obviously the coaches are working, the players are off, and then you bring them in, watched some film, walked over some stuff briefly, made our adjustments, and then today moved them a little bit more obviously in shoot around. You just saw the goofy ending part of shoot around, but they were a bit more locked in earlier.
Right. Between games 1 and 2, you talked about how it didn't really make sense to make adjustments because you guys just hadn't executed your game plan. When you went back and watched game 2, did you feel like you had hit everything and like this is now the time to adjust or?
Well, what we were going to do in game 1, we didn't do at all, and I didn't attempt to do it in game 2. So kind of like game plan A for game 1, I kind of just scrapped, went back to a more basic, something that I thought we could execute. Defensively, I think we've made it very clear, very crystal clear on what we want to do with certain players. So hopefully, we don't give up as much, as many layups as we did. Because quite frankly, we gave up too many in game 1. So that's all we talked about game 2 was layups. And we gave up even more in game 2. So, again, it'll be different than game 2.
Dr. Hammon, you made a comment after game 1 about, how long the Liberty are and how much that can disrupt you defensively. I wondered, like, even back to when you played in the W, do you recall playing against a team that had like similar length? Because their length at every position is pretty impressive.
The Detroit Shock had a very long team. The Sparks had a long team with Lisa, Candace, Delisha Milton. But I think their point guard was Tamika, who's really cut their average down. Leave it to us short ones to ruin the curve. No, I mean, I don't think Saab is 5'11", 6 foot. Laney 6 feet. Phoebich 6'4". Stewie, 6'4", but her hands are below her kneecaps. I mean, she's just so long. And then you got JJ in there, who's super long. So, no, I don't recall a team. And I said this in New York, but if you just put those wingspans on the board, it looks like an NBA team.
Jackie
Hi, Becky. The Liberty had an issue with complacency last year. I'm just curious how you've seen them work through that and improve upon that this year.
Complacency. I mean, I don't know who called them complacent.
Sandy did it.
Well, me and Sandy are truth tellers of our own teams. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of their team dynamics. She sees them and knows them way more intricately than I do. However, I think, I thought they were pretty darn good last year too, but what they did is they went, I think, just like I go back to that, you just can never let off the gas pedal in professional sports. You can never let off. You can never assume you're gonna walk out on the court and beat somebody. You actually, that's why we go out and play the games, because anybody can beat anybody. I mean, we've lost to some real stinkers this year. And it happens. It happens in professional sports if you don't come with the appropriate fear and respect for whoever you're stepping out on the floor against. I've seen zero complacency with the Liberty this year, so in a way, I kind of don't care what they were last year. This year, they are tough. So they've been the best team all year. I think they've been the most non-complacent team all year. So kudos to them to work on things that they needed to work on. And even as individuals, things that we exploited last year, they went and got better at. Saab went and got better at her weaknesses. You know, Stewie too, as good as she is, who I think she's a brilliant basketball player, went and worked on things. And I think that's one of the things with the grades, even Asia, she went and worked on things. She got better. Everybody got better. And, you know, they did add some length and stuff, which I think has been a game changer for them. You know, I kind of don't care, Jackie, who they were last year. They're really freaking good this year.
Actually following up on something you just said, where did you feel like you saw the most growth and progress with Stewie from last year this year?
For one thing, she handles a ball and initiates a lot of offense for them. You know, obviously, I love her shooting, everything that she brings to the game. But even just her finishing around the rim, I think has been a bit better. As Saab has made big improvements there. So, it's tough when you take really, really good players and they get better.
And then Asia said something today that when this team has its backs against the wall, you guys do your best. You haven't necessarily been in that many situations playoff wise
Yeah.
where that's been the case, but what do you want to see your team do to be able to, you know, fulfill that, and what gives you hope that they can tonight?
What gives me hope is who they are, who I know them to be. That always gives me hope. Sitting with Asia, Plum, Jackie, Chels, Tip, Key, all those AC. I mean, I could go down the list. They give me comfort. I know they're competitive. I realize our season has had its ups and downs, but I do think we've turned a corner. About 10, 12 games ago, 15 games ago, whatever. And then you play poker?
Me?
Yeah. Anybody play poker? Any poker players? You gonna fold pocket aces? All right. Where are the aces? We're not gonna fold.
Very nice.
So following up with a couple. A couple for you, if that's okay, Coach. Talk to Asia a little bit after shoot around today, asking about some of the windows that she's seeing as a driver. Through these first two games, do you feel like your team as a whole kind of found the cadence of when to drive, when to attack, how much time they have to attack those windows?
I mean, yeah, I think we're getting better offensively with each look at their length, because it's alarming at first. It's like, oh, you know, I can remember seeing some NBA players where it's like, you know, they're tall, you scout them, you do this, and then you see them in real life, and you're like, oh yeah, you really are very tall. You know, so it's the same thing. I think it can almost catch you off guard in a sense, and you can prepare for it and you can know about it, but then to see it kind of in action in front of you is a little bit different. I think we've figured some things out. Really, you go back to the second quarter of both games, and if you take those second quarters out, we're probably not having these same conversations. And even in the game two, where I felt like we had our chances, you know, the difference between winning and losing is a very, very thin line at this point in the season. And we're sitting here in a very different circumstance. If 5 seconds goes differently, back in New York, credit to New York, they've found ways to beat us and to, even when we punch them in the nose, they come back, punch us right back. You know, so it's a little bit of a chess match, but it's also a matter of will. You have to impose your will on somebody from the jump. And I've said this all year, but we haven't had it yet where our guards are clicking on all cylinders. We just haven't. I don't know why. But I expect it anytime now. Three out of the four out of the four. I'll take any combo like that of any of the four. You know, we've had two on a night have good nights. Asia's been ridiculous, is ridiculous. She will continue to be ridiculous. But then after that, it's all those other little pieces. And more importantly, it's the defensive end for us. You know, have not been happy with that, which probably going into this series is the thing I was most happy about. So we can be better there.
And then just quickly bouncing off of the Liberty Limb point, it felt like in game two, you were a lot more diligent about clearing the side before getting into some of your actions. Just in that setup, how did you feel about the quality of your games?
What are you in my like walkthroughs, Nikias?
Yeah.
Quit giving away all our secrets. No, I mean, you learn the spots, and so do the players, by the way, learn the spots where they can be successful. And I can tell them that all day long, oh, this will be good, this will be good. But till they go out there and see it, and then they're like, we get good results, they'll be a lot more diligent about doing those things. So like I said, we try to give them the how every time. I'll give you the how. But when they believe in the why and the results, then they'll start to do it really consistently. So we're just about getting more consistent and just more solid, more consistent on the offensive end and more solid on the defensive end.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. We will be right back with Sandy Brondello. Thank you.